Welcome back to the channel, guys. Yep, it's the end of October and the cold weather's really starting to come in here in northeast Wyoming. Tonight's supposed to get around or get down to 27 degrees, and it's breezy out here right now, so it's not even that comfortable even though the sun's out. But yeah, I just received something I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm hoping that this will change everything this winter, as far as I was having to get up 3 times a night to feed the wood stove to keep that thing going and keep it warm inside of there. So you know, getting up 3 times a night, that gets old real fast, and it's just not a good night's sleep for sure. So yeah, we'll head inside here and I'll show you what I got, and cross our fingers this changes everything. I gotta let you see these guys real quick. They're getting bigger. You see that front one right there's one of the roosters. I've got 3 in the shipment. They said they marked 2. I guess there was a 3rd one in there that they didn't catch, but yeah, they're growing. They're getting bigger now. They're right about 3 months old. So these are Buff Orpingtons. You know, when I read up on them, I was looking for something that would be both a both dual purpose bird. They grow to a pretty decent size for a meat bird, but one thing particularly about these Buff Orpingtons, they're known to go broody. So being off grid out here, I don't want to have to deal with well, you know, if you look at most people, they have heat lamps when they first get an order of chicks. They have the heat lamps and all that stuff, which I couldn't do. So I was kind of going you know, back and forth with moving them outside in the day in the sunshine, and then moving them inside at night, and even turning on my buddy heater even though it was summertime, to keep it up at the hot temperatures that they said they needed to be at, like 95 degrees, somewhere in that range. So I don't want to have to deal with all that again. So I'm really hoping that these hens, at least you know, a few of them, would go broody once they start laying eggs and hatch them themselves, and I won't have to fool with that anymore. I have had one loss. They've been free ranging outside now for over a month, and I had 17, and I don't know, several weeks back I guess it's been gosh, I'm losing track of time here. So I guess they've been free ranging for like 2 months. But anyway, about 3 weeks ago, I want to say I did another head count, and I was down to 16. So looked around, I couldn't see any evidence of you know, one of them being attacked. Like I say, on other parts of the property, I've seen areas where you could clearly tell a turkey had got attacked because there's a big pile of feathers, nothing else, but, you know, big pile of feathers. So I don't know if maybe a coyote grabbed one and ran off with it, or what happened. But yeah, I'm down 1, which isn't too big of a deal, but you know, and that's been about 3 weeks ago, and nothing, no more losses. So it ain't gonna be too long, and they're gonna be just cooped up inside the coop all the time, so they won't have to worry about them any losses at that point. But yeah, so they'll, come springtime, they'll be plenty old enough to start laying eggs, and so I'll be in business at that point. I'll show you one other thing here inside or just outside before we go inside the barn. But I got paid a visit by a furry critter last night. Now this Well, the tree itself, which isn't doing good at all. It was a green giant arborvitae that I had hoped that I wanted to try to see if they would do good out here in Wyoming, and it just hasn't done much at all. In fact, it came with a lot more green on it, and it pretty much lost most everything. A little bit of green on it, and that's how it's just looked horrible. Not It doesn't look like it's going to survive. So I'd hope, because these things get real tall, their build is growing real fast. Like once the roots get established, they're supposed to grow like 3 to 4 feet a year. And I was wanting to put them on that my property borders, just past like the raised beds out there is where the north border is, cross over to the next property. And if that ever gets bought and somebody builds a home up there, I wanted to buy a bunch of these and line them up on there, and it would create like a privacy fence. But it doesn't look like they're gonna do good here in Wyoming. So anyway, but yeah, what I really wanted to show you is something it surprised me earlier this year. But I put 2 cups out and in the spring and started, was trying to get an early start on growing some tomatoes from seed. And I mean, they never did anything. And I guess somewhere I wound up, putting some new seeds in and trying again, and they didn't do anything. But I guess I spilled some seeds into this black container, and at some point, a couple tomato plants popped up, and but it was real late in the season, and so it had grown up, and it probably had 10 or 12 small tomatoes on it. But I knew as late as it was, and we were already getting real cold regularly in the nights, it wasn't going to do anything. But I just left it there. And anyway, when I came out today, I noticed that thing, it got demolished by something. And so I'm looking around. The ground here is real hard packed and rocky. I couldn't see any prints or whatever. But if we come over here, we can see who the culprit was. Yeah, Bambi came by and had herself a little feast, a little buffet on my tomato plant. I mean, I mean, there's no tomatoes on the ground, so I guess she ate those green tomatoes and all the leaves and branches down pretty much to the trunk. So anyway, yeah, so I'm glad she's happy. All right, so I'm going to pause this right here, and I'll pick you up inside and show you what I got. Okay, so as you know, I've enclosed a section from, the side of my RV over to the side of the barn and all up above here. So I got a small section for my wood stove to heat everything up. And of course it, like I'd mentioned, it's open so the hot air can get underneath the RV. But I have, from like the front all the way on the outside around to the other side of the RV, everything's the underpinning is it's all closed up. So hot air can get underneath it, but it can't escape out the back side. But I was getting sick and tired of getting up 3 times a night to feed the wood stove to keep that thing running so that everything would stay warm in here. But so I ordered something. I was looking around, and I'll just say I have a buddy heater inside, which I wouldn't, I pretty much will run it a lot in the daytime, and only if we're having extreme temperatures like well below zero would I run run the wood stove in the daytime. Although always keeping in mind, I got to keep it warm enough in here because this is where I have my lithium ion batteries, so I can't have it dipping down below 32 degrees in here and having those things freeze up because that would damage them and that would be costly. So yeah, just depending on the weather, I may or may not run the wood stove in the daytime. And I'd get by with the buddy heater at night. But you know, the propane, you know, as good as that thing is, it does, you try to run that buddy heater, you know, 10 hours a day or something like that, you're going to burn through, you know, a lot of propane within just I bought an extra 30-pound tank too. So now I had 2 last winter. Now I've got 3. But yeah, you run it 10 hours a day, you're going to burn through that 30-pound tank pretty quick, you know, within just a couple of days. So, you know, that's not as efficient as I'd hoped it would have been. So what I got the other day here, something that I'm hoping will be more efficient because unlike the buddy heater, you know, it doesn't have a thermostat control, so it isn't cutting off and on, it's just on, you know, the whole time. So I got what I picked was the Vevor. I think this puts out 70,000 BTUs of heat, but it's a kerosene heater and is, sorry about that, but as you see right here, I got the thermostat on there. So my plan is to set that at about 50 degrees. And what I'll do is I will, when I'm ready to go to bed, I'll load the wood stove up and, you know, let it burn. Probably set my alarm clock for 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll get up and load that one more time. And what I have this kerosene heater, you know, it does require AC for the igniter and then the fan, the blower fan. So I purchased another battery and a small solar system, just a small or inexpensive charge controller from Harbor Freight. And then I had a couple panels out there. In fact, I'll pick you up over there. I just, yeah, I got a few things to explain about that. You know, this is all going to be experiment because I'm not sure if what I have right now is even going to be enough to do what I want. But I guess you could say that's part of the fun of moving off grid and experimenting with all your different systems. But hold on one second, I'll pick you up over there. Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, I got this, this is just a inexpensive charge controller that I got from Harbor Freight. I had this spare inverter. I want to have a spare because I have another separate small system for my chest freezer, and if that were to ever go out, I wouldn't want everything in there to spoil. So I kind of had this as backup. But if that were still to happen, I could take this down and move it over to where that's at. But and then I had the battery down there. I kind of had a small setup. Well, had the battery because I have this pump here, and that supplies this sink and everything. That's something else I got this summer was a stainless steel sink and the countertop here. Whenever I do start hunting, I needed a place to kind of prep my whatever it was, deer or whatever that I'd harvest. So yeah, I got a nice little prep station here and everything, but needed the battery to run that pump. So came in handy, and now I can, and that's what I question. I'm not sure. Again, this will be cutting off and on throughout the night. Ooh, it's not good lighting. There we go. Yeah, this will be cutting off and on throughout the night, so I don't know, if that's gonna, if one battery, and this isn't a lithium ion battery either, it's just a marine deep cycle battery. So I don't know if one's gonna be enough. If it's not, I know I'm gonna be going into town Saturday to finally, the guy that I, bought some firewood from last year. He had issues with the loader that he uses to load in his firewood into the people's, trucks or whatever. That was down, but now I talked to him earlier this week, and he said it's back up. Just call him on Saturday, and we should be able to go in and get some firewood finally. But while I'm in town, again, I'm going to get a good test run on this tonight, because it's going to get down to 27 degrees. So I'll do just like I said a minute ago. I'll load up the wood stove when I go to bed, then get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, load it one more time, and then I'll turn on the inverter at that point and set the thermostat on that for 50 degrees. So if I'm just loading the wood stove at that point around 2 o'clock, it's going to burn for about 2 hours. Gosh, and I really beefed. I'm going to show you something here. Like I said, I really beefed up on the underpinning situation that I have here. So I know I'm right on top of it, so it's hard to tell, but that is the side of my trailer. And I did like if you were framing out a wall inside a house, 2x4 studs, spaced I think about 16 inches apart. And then I had a whole bunch of rolls of this type of insulation here, but I have those, in between the 16-inch space studs. And I still had, what you're seeing here is the sheets of styrofoam board. That's all I had up last year. And where all these seams are, and I was taping them together, last year I just had the styrofoam boards, and the tape that I was using, it just did wind up kind of loosening up, and I had all kinds of air leaks. So that wasn't, I'm like, I was letting a lot of air in, and I'm like, well, this is not doing what I wanted. So I beefed it up with, making the 2x4 framing, adding that thick that's 3.5-inch insulation. I want to say it's an R13. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, with that, and then since I had the styrofoam board, just double layer it, I went ahead and put it back on the back side. So I think it's going to really retain the heat and everything. So when I come out here and turn this thing on, the inverter on at 2 o'clock in the morning, like I say, I'll probably get about a 2-hour burn out of the wood stove. And then over, the next hour or two or whatever, temperature is going to drop. And so at that point, that's when that torpedo heater, kerosene heater, should kick on and keep everything warm enough in there that, I don't have to worry about my lithium ion batteries freezing up. And as long as if it's around 50 degrees on the inside of, I am sorry about that. As long as it's, stays around 50 degrees inside that enclosed area, then I'm going to be good inside the RV, because I got a couple of couple of comforters and flannel, is it flannel sheets? So it'll be plenty warm enough until I'm ready to get up, and then yeah, I'll probably kick on the buddy heater inside, and yeah, that's the plan. I'm hoping, like I said, that'll just be awesome if I can go from getting up 3 times a night to feed that wood stove to just 1 time a night. That'll be a game changer, and I will be happy. Heck, you know, depending, and the reason I'm being as conservative as I am, in other words, you know, I may play around with it, because honestly, I would prefer to just load up the wood stove when I go to bed and be able to turn that inverter on and be done with it, you know, not even have to get up at 2 o'clock again to turn that on. And since I'm up, I might as well load up the wood stove one more time and get one full burn out of it. But I just don't, yeah, like I say, I would like to not even have to do that, but I'm just unsure of how low that deep cycle battery will get drained if I just, you know, turn it on there right before I go to bed. You know, like I say, a lithium ion battery, it doesn't, you can drain those things down really low and it doesn't hurt them. But that lead acid battery, the marine battery there, you start doing that all the time, and it's going to seriously shorten the life of it. So I don't want to do that. So I don't know, I'd like to say I'll see how after tonight's use, and again, that's being conservative. Say I'll be only turning the inverter on at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, and the torpedo heater probably won't even kick on for maybe 2 hours after that. So it isn't going to have that much of a burden put on it and all. But I'll be able to see, I'll be able to look at the charge controller when I get up in the morning and see what the levels reading. If it's, right now it was 13.0, it levels off at that. If I do something that kind of drains it, it'll, as long as there's full sun out, it'll charge up. You know, you'll see something like 13.7 where it's, you know, charging. And then once it levels off, it'll level off at 13 even. So I'll see how low it drains it down till. Sorry, I'm trying to be in a place where I'm not getting all that glare, but anyway, yeah, I'll just kind of cut it off here because I'm rambling on now. But yeah, I'll get a good feel for it tonight, and if it seems like I need to add another battery to it, then I can always just add one in parallel, and everything should be fine. I would certainly think, as little as with that thing kicking off and on, not running full time, it should at the very, you know, minimum, you know, two batteries should be more than enough to run that thing throughout the night and not drain them down too much. Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. I'm thrilled because I do believe it's going to solve my issue of getting up 3 times a night, which didn't thrill me. And that's one of I mean, it's bad enough that it, you know, pretty soon this place is going to be full of snow and ice. I'm going to have to deal with all of that. But at least one thing that I can check off the list is me having to get up 3 times a night and everything. So that's a big deal. But anyway, you guys take care. And I wish you all the best if you're wanting to get out here and do something like this yourself. Get out of the madness of the cities. I do wish you the best. So you guys take care, and I will talk to you later.